crowd ignites, roar of the field burning bright, shadows clash in the fading night. Student body rise, student body fight, feel the surge, feel the might, run the play under the blue spotlight. Cleats on the turf, hearts in the game, chasing the glory, chasing the flame. One team, one dream, never the same.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, week number 3 of the college football season is in the books. Some shockers, some not so shocking. Well, welcome to Student Body Right. I'm your host, Ryan Neff, all things college football. Again, thanks for tuning in. I'm sure people are enjoying the NFL game right now. The Buccaneers are up on the Texans 14-10. But let's jump to it, shall we? Scores from the weekend. Top 25 edition. I only do the top 25. I don't even like doing the top 25 because the rankings change week to week anyway. Those of you who watch this show. Coming up at 8:15, Otis KIRK, who covers the Arkansas Razorbacks, coming on Talk Razorback football. Tough one against Ole Miss this week, in which they lost. But they battled and they played hard. He covers Arkansas Razorbacks football for HOGVILLE and Pig Trail Nation. You can register at hogville.net. So, week number 3 in the books. And then I will pick my game of the week and I will say whoever gets the finger. Well, a lot of people are going to be on Texas Tech and Utah as the game of the week. I am not. I will be going Illinois and Indiana. As soon as my pad here stops buffering. Again, I say it every week, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to technology, I always seem to get shoved a red hot poker up my ass. It all started on Friday, top 25 action. Number 22, Indiana hammered the shit out of Indiana State 73-0. Indiana State, I hope the payday was worth it. They get your ass handed to like that. Do I really need to go over the stats and the box score? I don't think so. Because it's going to be all Indiana anyway. So Indiana wins 73-0 in a tune-up with Illinois. The rest of the schedule, number 25, Missouri beat the shit out of Louisiana 52-10. So a little bit more competitive. Louisiana, the passing game, they were 2 of 14 for 4 yards. Zylan Perry was the main receiver, 5 catches, 86 yards, and a touchdown. Leading tackler was Jaden Duggar with 11 total tackles. For Missouri, Bo Pribula was 15 of 20, 174, 2 touchdowns and pick. Ladies and gentlemen, Missouri ran the ball 62 times for 427 yards and 5 touchdowns. The Raging Cajuns, I hope it was worth it, the payday. Ahmad Hardy, 22 carries, 253 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Marquise Davis, 20 carries, 113, and a touchdown. Kevin Coleman Jr., 8 catches, 84 yards. Damon Wilson, the third, 4 total tackles. The team stats. Missouri had 606 yards of total offense. Louisiana had 121. Louisiana was 111 on third down. Missouri 9 of 13. Enough said. Number 24, Auburn beat South Alabama 31-15. Maybe a little bit closer to what Auburn fans would have liked. But Auburn improves to 3-0. South Alabama is now 1-2. For South Alabama, Bishop Davenport was 18-26, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick. Kentrell Bullock, 16 carries, 57 yards rushing, leading rusher for South Alabama. Leading receiver, Anthony Eager, 8 catches, 55 yards. Leading tackler was Christopher Wallace Jr., 8 total tackles. For Auburn, Jackson Arnold, 13-24, 142, a touchdown, no picks. Jeremiah Cobb, 19 carries, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jackson Arnold tacked on 2 rushing touchdowns. Eric Singleton Jr., 6 catches, 69 yards. Caleb Harris, 8 total tackles for the Tigers. Well, we go to the team stats. South Alabama turned it over twice, which didn't help. Third downs, they were both about the same. But the 2 turnovers really seem to be the difference in the game, to be quite honest with you. So Auburn improves to 3-0. South Alabama 1-2. Excuse me. Oh, by the way, Missouri improved to 3-0, and Louisiana 1-2. Another why did you schedule this particular team? Michigan, number 23, Michigan beat the shit out of Central Michigan, 63-3. I'm not going to go over the stats. It's just asinine. Number 21, Texas Tech, a little bit tougher opponent this week in Oregon State. They still won 45-14. For Oregon State, the leading passer, Malik Murphy, 24 of 43, 270 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Collectively, Oregon State ran the ball 22 times for 8 yards. Malik Murphy was sacked a bunch of times too. Oregon State receiving, David Wells Jr., 6 catches, 103 yards. Oregon State defense leading tackler was Dexter Foster with 11. For Texas Tech, Baron Morton had a day, 23 of 35, 464 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. Leading rusher Cameron Dickey, 17 carries, 77 yards, and a touch. Coy Eakin, Jacoby Williams, and Terrence Carter each caught touchdown passes and each had over 100 yards receiving. Texas Tech defense leading tacklers Jacob Rodriguez, John Curry, and Cole Wisniewski with 7 apiece. The team stats, total yards, Texas Tech 601, Oregon State 276 or 284. Again, when you're only running the ball 22 times for 8 yards, you're not going to win many games. Texas Tech now 3-0. Some people have picked them to win the Big 12 this year. Oregon State, unfortunately, falling on some hard times. They fall to 0-3. Number 20, Utah on the road. They beat Wyoming 31-6. Utah back to their defensive ways this year, and they are somewhat healthy. Utah, Devin Dampier was 27 of 41, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He also had 13 carries for 86 yards. Ryan Davis for Utah, 10 catches, 91 yards receiving. Defensively, Elijah Davis, John Henry Daly each had 6 total tackles apiece. For Wyoming, Caden Anderson was 12 of 23, 108 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. Samuel Harris, 8 carries, 68 yards for the Cowboys, the Wyoming Cowboys. Leading receiver was Chris Durr Jr., 5 catches, 40 yards. Leading tacklers were Evan Eller, Andrew Johnson, 12 total tackles apiece. We go to the team stats. total yards, Utah 541, Wyoming 229. Utah was 9 of 15 on third down. Wyoming was 3 of 12. Utah turned it over twice to Utah's 1. But really, Utah ran the ball effectively for 301 yards to Wyoming's 121, and they controlled the clock, hence the 31-6 win. Utah ran the ball collectively 45 times for 311 yards and 2 touchdowns. So win the turnover battle, ball control offense with the run game, and you're going to win most games. Alabama beat Arkansas 38-14. Not very competitive. I don't know if Luke Fickell in Wisconsin is going to cut it there in Wisconsin. Just never understood the hire in the first place. But Alabama with another big win for them. Trying to make people forget about that Florida State debacle. Let's go to the box score. As soon as my pad starts buffering. Again, anybody who watches my shows knows that technology and myself do not mix. Just don't. It is still buffering, and I'm ready to heave this thing through the window. Because it is just, the little circle just keeps turning and turning and turning. And it's actually starting to get annoying. Because all it wants to do is buffer. Here we go. Finally. I don't know if there's a glitch in the matrix. We go to the box score of the Wisconsin-Alabama game. For Wisconsin, Danny O'Neal was 11 of 17, 117 yards, a touchdown, but 2 picks. Wisconsin ran the ball 34 times for 92 yards. Jaden Ballard, 1 catch for 41 yards and a touchdown for Wisconsin, was the leading receiver. For some odd reason, this particular game, the defensive stats are not showing up. But for Alabama, Ty Simpson, a get-right game, 24-29, 382 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Bama only ran the ball 22 times for 72 yards, which is a little concerning. Where you're heaving the ball all over the place. Ryan Williams doing Ryan Williams things, 5 catches, 165 yards, and 2 touchdowns. We go to the team stats. Alabama was actually bad on third downs. They were 2 of 8. Wisconsin was 6 of 11. But when you're scoring big play after big play after big play, really, Alabama didn't turn it over. Wisconsin turned it over twice. 38-14. Alabama seems to be back on track now. So all you Crimson Tide fans, like for the week, you can talk yourself off the ledge. I will save the Ole Miss Arkansas game for Mr. KIRK when he comes on. Number 24, Iowa State, close one against Arkansas State. Probably taking Arkansas State a little lightly, I would think. After 3 good wins in a row. For Iowa State, Rocco Becht was 14 of 25, 264 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Carson Henson, 16 carries, 116 yards, was the leading rusher for Iowa State. Xavier Townsend, 3 catches, 92 yards. Leading tackler was Marcus Neal Jr. with 7. Arkansas State passing. Jalen Rayner was 19 of 33, 222, no touchdowns, and a pick. He also led the way in rushing, 16 carries, 83 yards, and a touchdown. Chauncey Cobb, 7 catches, 81 yards, leading receiver for Arkansas State. Avante Dickerson and Brandon Barnes, 7 total tackles apiece. We go to the team stats. Really, it was quite equal. Obviously, Iowa State coming off the big win with the Cy-Hawk Trophy game against Iowa. Really, the difference in the ball game was the fact that Arkansas State was penalized 10 times for 90 yards. Iowa State only 3 for 31. Iowa State under Matt Campbell usually very disciplined, not a lot of penalties. If anybody wants to know, right now we are almost done with the second quarter down there in Houston. It's still 14-10 Tampa Bay. Looks like they might go into halftime. 14-10. As we go down the top 25 scoreboard for week number 3. Number 13, Oklahoma, no problem with Temple. They beat Temple 42-3. For Oklahoma, John Materos, 28-34, 282, a touchdown and a pick. Torrey Blaylock, 14 carries, 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Leading Oklahoma rusher. Leading receiver was Isaiah Satanga III, 7 for 97. Leading tacklers, Rich Powers III, Kendall Dolby, and Taylor Heim, each with 4 tackles apiece. Temple, Evan Simon, 13-25, 75 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. He was on the run, running for his life. Temple, 26 carries, 27 yards collected. Leading receivers were Kajia Holloway and Ryder Cush. Avery Powell with 9 total tackles. I'm not going to get overly excited about Oklahoma yet. First downs, Oklahoma had 29, Temple had 7. Temple had 105 total yards. Oklahoma, 515. When you're being outrushed basically almost 10-1, you're not going to win many football games. Plain and simple. Yeah, I'm not going to get overly excited about Oklahoma. I need to see it against better competition first. In one of the shock, well, not really a shock. I called Georgia Tech to win this game. They did beat number 24 or number 12 Clemson at the time. 24-21. I don't know what's wrong with Clemson. I don't know if Campbell's message just doesn't resonate anymore. I was never a fan of Garrett Riley being hired as the offensive coordinator there. But Clemson goes down 24-21. Clemson, for the most part, are 1-2 now. They're going to have to win the remainder of their games to go 10-2 and win the ACC if they can, to even sniff a playoff. Cade Klubnik, who I've given every chance for him to shine, every opportunity. He's just another quarterback to me at this point. 15-26, 207 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Adam Randall, a decent day, 15 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown. Clemson receiving, Bryant Westco Jr. did the damage, 7 catches, 126 and a tutty. Ronan Hannafin, 10 total tackles for Clemson. Georgia Tech, Haynes King, efficient, 20-28, 211 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He ran the ball 25 times for 103 yards and a touch. Eric Rivers, 3 catches, 72 yards. Clayton Powell, 11 total tackles for Georgia Tech. Team stats. Clemson turned over twice, which didn't help. Georgia Tech took care of the ball, no turnovers. Clemson actually outrushed Georgia Tech. Passing yards were there. Clemson outgained them with, on third down, but you can't turn the ball over twice. Cade had a horrible turnover. It just Clemson looked good the first half of LSU and the second half last week. But the second half of the LSU game and the second half of this game, the whole game, actually, they stunk. and Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech and Illinois were two of my sleeper teams in college football this year. Georgia Tech now 3-0. Somewhat of a surprising game. Vanderbilt, yes, the Commodores, ladies and gentlemen, they knock off number 11 South Carolina 31-7. I know Lenora Sellers got hurt for South Carolina, seemed to take the wind out of South Carolina's whole day. But for Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia was 18 to 25, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Vanderbilt collectively ran the ball 37 times for 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. Vanderbilt receiving Eli Stowers was three catches, 45 yards. Leading tackler was C.J. Hurd, who anchors that defense, 12 total tackles. For South Carolina, like I said, Lenora Sellers got hurt. He was 6-7, no touchdowns and a pick. Luke Doty came in, played admirably. 18 to 27, 148, no touchdowns, but he threw the pick. Rasul Faison, 15 carries, 74 yards and a touch. Leading receiver for South Carolina was Nick Harbor, 4 catches, 66 yards. Peyton Williams, 7 total tackles. South Carolina turned it over 4 times. Didn't help. They were penalized 8 for 85. They were 4-12 on third down. Couldn't run the football. You can't run the football and you turn it over 4 times. We're not going to win many games. Vanderbilt improves to 3-0. South Carolina falls to 2-1. Another one of my surprise picks for college football: Illinois hammered Western Michigan 38-0. Illinois was ranked 9th last week. This was a bloodbath in the second half, anyway. Illinois' defense just took over. Illinois got clicking offensively. Western Michigan, Brock Lowry, 10 of 16, 78 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Ofa Matele, 8 carries, 46 yards for Western Michigan. Leading receiver was Balin Brooks, 3 catches, 24 yards. Micah Davis for Western Michigan defensively, 10 total tackles. For Illinois, Luke Altmaier, 17 to 26, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Caden Fegan, who is just a beast. If he has a good year, he should be in the mix, I think, for a Heisman Trophy discussion. He's like 6'2", he weighs like 255. He's their tailback. He's a beast. 20 carries, 100 yards, touchdown. Hank Beatty, 6 catches, 93 yards and a touch. Matthew Bailey, Malachi Hood, 6 total tackles apiece. We go to the team stats. Clean game, no turnovers between the two. Illinois, 162 rush yards, Western Michigan, 113. Illinois passing, 196, Western Michigan, 91. But Illinois with the big play capability, they were 7 to 12 on third down. Western Michigan was 3 to 14. Illinois with the comfortable win. Hopefully, Otis KIRK will be on here. But again, if he doesn't come on, I completely understand. A lot of journalists to cover the teams, they are busy, so I get it. Like I said, as we go down the line here, as we're doing the buffering thing again, just a little circle. And if I had a little BB gun, I'm at the half. The Buccaneers up on the Texans, 14-10. Of course, again, it's buffering. It's trying to do its thing. I will say some teams in college football right now that are Clemson's in trouble. Big time. They're probably the biggest disappointment in college football right now. Again, I said this last week. With the way their schedule shakes out, they're lucky if they win 6 games the way they're playing. I'm just throwing it out there. Could we be seeing demise of Dabo Sweeney as a Clemson coach? And then that's the other part of the problem is Dabo has not adapted to the current pulse of college football. He hasn't embraced NIL. He hasn't embraced the transfer portal. And one of the most entertaining games of the weekend, Texas A&M with the huge win over Notre Dame. Texas A&M was ranked 16th at the time, Notre Dame 8th. Good game. I feel bad for Mr. Buckner for Notre Dame, who mishandled the extra point snap. Of course, Texas A&M drove the field and scored. Texas A&M, Marcel Reed was 17 of 37, 362 touchdowns, a pick. Le'Veon Moss with 20 carries, 81 yards, and 3 touchdowns rushing. Mario Craver, have a day. 7 catches, 207 yards and a touch. Notre Dame had no answer for him. Marcus Radcliffe, 8 total tackles for A&M. For Notre Dame, passing, CJ Carr was 20 of 32, 293, a touchdown, but he threw a pick. Jeremiah Love, 23 carries, 94 yards, and a touch. Eli Raridan, 4 catches, 85 yards receiving. Aiden Schuler, 7 total tackles. Again, this was an exciting game. Evenly matched. Game could have gone either way. It's just the mishandled extra point by Buckner. So that's a memory you don't want. Texas A&M improves to 3-0. Notre Dame now 0-2. But I've said this before, the way their schedule sets up the rest of the way, I still think they're going to go 10-2. They didn't get blown out by Miami. It was a gut wrencher against A&M. 2 close games. If you go 10-2, with the way your schedule is, 2 tough losses that were close, I'm not panicking on Notre Dame yet. Number 7, Texas last week beat UTEP 27-10 in a lackluster performance. Arch Manning and the offense got booed off the field. That was interesting. For UTEP, Malachi Nelson, 24 of 36, 209 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. Hashawn Wilson, leading rusher for UTEP, 6 for 39. Trayvon Tate, 6 catches for 64 yards. Micah Davey, their leading tackler, at 9 total tackles. Arch Manning, less than stellar, 11 of 25, 114, a touchdown and a pick. James Simon, 17 carries for 67 yards. The Texas running game got them off the schneid. Texas ran the ball collectively 55 times for 227 yards and 2 touchdowns. They might have to resort to that for a while. Ryan Wingo, 3 catches, 32 yards and a touchdown. Leona Lafau, 7 total tackles. We go to the team stats. Again, Texas ran the ball for 227 yards. UTEP 50. Both teams were about the same on third down conversions, but what Steve Sarkisian might have to do with Arch is just simplify the playbook and just run the hell out of the ball. Because that's what really that seems to be what Texas needs. It seems to be their identity, is to just pound the rock and simplify the passing game for Arch and see what happens. Again, hopefully Chris or Otis KIRK. If not, no biggie. We can reschedule. Another entertaining game. Georgia ekes one out against Tennessee in overtime. I actually had the Notre Dame game on and the Georgia game on. at the same time. Highly entertaining. Of course, Tennessee blew it again. They just can't seem to get over the. Maybe it's the helmet. It's like Lee Corpuscle used to say way back in the day about in the 90s when Michigan was beating Ohio State. He said, it's the helmet game. It's the helmet game. Tennessee had him. Couldn't finish him out. Georgia with the win, 44-41. But they hold the game over Tennessee's head now. Georgia 3-0, Tennessee 2-1. Georgia passing, Gunnar Stockton, 23 of 31, 304, 2 touchdowns, no picks. More importantly. Georgia running the football, Nate Frazier, 14 and 73. Again, Georgia ran the ball 55 times for 198 yards and 3 touchdowns. Colby Young, 4 catches, 73 yards. Actually, OTIS may come on here. I thought it was 8:15. I believe it's 8:30. Georgia's defense, CJ Allen, 13 total tackles. Tennessee, Joey Aguilar, 24 36, 371, 4 touchdowns, threw 2 picks though. Star Thomas, 9 carries, 60 yards. Chris Brazil, third. Have a day, 6 receptions, 177 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Georgia had no answer. Leading tackle was Arian Carter, 13 total tackles. Team stats, you can flip a coin. They both turned it over twice. Both were about the same on third downs. Georgia a little bit better. I like Georgia just made one more play than Tennessee did. Period. Tennessee can just, it's a 10 straight loss to Georgia. They just cannot seem to get over the hump. Any doubts about Miami? 5th ranked Miami last week over 18 South Florida, 49-12. It wasn't close. Miami wanted to put to bed any doubts, and they did it early. Byram Brown was 20 of 36, 274, a touchdown and a pick for South Florida, passing the ball. South Florida couldn't run the ball, 27 carries for 40 yards. South Florida receiving, Chaz Nimrod, 4 receptions, 128 yards receiving. Leading tacklers were Jalen Schuler and Mac Harris, 8 total tackles apiece. Miami passing the ball. Carson Beck was 23 of 28, 343 touchdowns, but he threw 2 picks. Mark Fletcher, 16 carries, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns rushing. Miami ran the ball 38 times for 205 yards and 4 touchdowns. Keelan Marin, 6 catches, 81 yards, and Joshua Moore added 2 touchdowns receiving. Miami defense, Ruben Bain Jr. and Akeem Meisdor, 6 total tackles apiece. The team stats. Again, when you can only run the ball for 40 yards and your opponent rushes it for 205, probably not going to win the game. Miami improves to 3-0. South Florida is now 2-1. As we go down the top 25 scoreboard. Oregon, number 4 Oregon at the time. They beat Northwestern 34-14. Oregon had put their subs in. Northwestern scored 4 late touchdowns to make it look like it was closer than it was. For Oregon, Dante Moore, 16 of 20, 178 yards, 1 touchdown and a pick. De'Aaron Hill Jr., 5 catches, 94 yards, and a touchdown rushing. Malik Benson, 4 for 62 receiving. Aaron Flowers, 7 total tackles. For Northwestern, Preston Stone struggled, 11 of 21, 135, no touchdowns, 2 picks. Although Northwestern running the football did sort of well. 37 carries, 178 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But again, Oregon put their subs in. Griffin Wild for Northwestern, 4 catches, 55 yards. Robert Fitzgerald, 10 total tackles. Team stats, Northwestern was horrible on third down, 3 of 11. Oregon was 7 of 11. And a difference in the ball game. Oregon is now 3-0. Northwestern 1-2. My Florida Gators, who just look like hell. They lose to LSU. I thought Florida's defense played fantastic, but so did LSU's. Just Florida has it. They're going to have it rough this year. I still don't know why they're not waiting to. Well, the buyout for Billy Napier is probably why they're not going to fire him. But DJ Lagway for Florida, 33 of 49, 287 yards, a touchdown, but he threw 5 interceptions, by the way. But that didn't help them. They still only lost by 10. But they couldn't run the ball, 27 times for 79 yards collectively. Vernell Brown, the third, 8 catches, 62 yards, leading receiver for the Gators. George Gums Jr., 5 total tackles. For LSU, Garrett Nussbauer, pedestrian, 15 of 27, 220 yards, a touchdown on the pick. Caden Durham, 15 carries, 93 yards. Aaron Anderson, 4 catches for 75 yards receiving. Devon Keys, 14 total tackles for the Tigers. Again, for the Gators, when you're throwing 5 interceptions and you can't run the football, you're not going to win the game. LSU improved to 3-0. Florida is now 1-2 and facing a disaster waiting to happen, by the way. Number 2, Penn State beat Villanova 52-6. Another bloodbath. I'm not even going to go over the stats because it's just a mismatch. And number 1, Ohio State beat Ohio for the state title. Ohio State actually struggled for a while, sleepwalking. I won't go over the stats here either because Ohio really couldn't do anything. I mean, Julian Sayin had 3 touchdowns passing, but he threw 2 picks, which is a little bit concerning. So there you have it there. Probably have to reschedule Mr. KIRK unless he pops on here at some point. But he said 7:30 Central Time, which would be 8:30 Eastern Time. Maybe he got caught up in something. Oh, Ole Miss beat Arkansas. Let me go to that score anyway. Ole Miss beat Arkansas 41-35. It was an entertaining game as well. I enjoyed that game. It was back and forth. Mississippi, Ole Miss comes out with the win. For Arkansas, Taylor Greed was 22 of 35, 305 yards, a touchdown. He didn't throw a pick. He played great. He also ran the ball 14 times for 115 yards and a touchdown. Omega Blake, 6 carries, 81 yards and a touch. Stephen Dix Jr., 9 total tackles. For Ole Miss, Trinidad Chambliss played admirably. Fantastic, actually, and he was hurt for a little bit. He was 21 of 29, 353 yards, a touchdowns, no picks. Added 15 for 62 yards and 2 touchdowns rushing. Harrison Wallace, the third, 6 catches, 92 yards and a touchdown. Suntarine Perkins, 9 total. Team stats, you could flip a coin. Arkansas had the 1 turnover, which kind of hurt. Both fantastic on third downs. It was a coin flip, basically. It's just the 1 turnover hurt Arkansas. So Ole Miss, their offense is going to have to carry them this year. So let's jump to week 4, shall we? I am going to go down the list here. This is top 25. This is an order of which they will be played. At 12 p.m. on Fox, number 17 Texas travels to Salt Lake City to take on number 16 Utah. Utah's favored by 3.5. A lot of people were on Texas Tech to win the Big 12. I was on Kansas State. They're making me look like a fool. Utah's at home. Could be offensive plenty. I'm going to go Utah 30, Texas Tech 27. 12:45 p.m. on the SEC network. UAB travels to take on number 15, Tennessee. Spread's 40.5. You always worry about a letdown. This will be a blowout. I'm going to go Tennessee 49, UAB 7. 3 p.m. the Civil War. Oregon State at number 6, Oregon. Spread's 34.5. Oregon State's not a good football team. Their program is falling on hard times. Oregon, Autzen Stadium. Forget about it. Oregon 50, Oregon State 7. 3:30 p.m. on ACC Network. Kent State travels to play on number 7, Florida State. Spread's 44.5. Kent State might not score. Florida State 51, Kent State nothing. 3:30 p.m. on ABC. Kind of a sneaky good game. Number 22 Auburn travels to take on number 11 Oklahoma. Oklahoma is favored by 6.5. I think it'll be a good game. Oklahoma's real first test. I know they played Michigan. Oklahoma will win, but it'll be close. Oklahoma 31, Auburn 26. 3:30 p.m. on ESPN. Tulane, sneaky good game, travels to take on number 13 Ole Miss. Both teams undefeated. Ole Miss favored by 11.5. I think this will be closer than the experts think. I'm going to go Ole Miss 34, Tulane 27. 3:30 p.m. Number 21 Michigan travels to take on Nebraska. Michigan favored by 2.5. Can't believe I'm going to say this. I think Nebraska has something for Michigan. Going to be a defensive battle. I'm going to go Nebraska 24, Michigan 21. 3:30 p.m. Purdue travels to take on number 24 Notre Dame. Notre Dame's favored by 26.5. This could be a get-right game for the Fighting Irish. So I'm going to go Notre Dame 40, Purdue 7. 4:30 p.m. on the CW network. Fort Temple has to travel to take on number 18 Georgia Tech. Might be a little bit of a letdown for a while for Georgia Tech, but they have something cooking down there in Atlanta. Georgia Tech 44, Temple 10. 7 p.m. on ESPN. South Carolina travels to take on number 23, Missouri. South Carolina 2-1, Missouri undefeated. Missouri favored by 13.5. Don't know the status of Lenora Sellers. I'm going to go Missouri 30, South Carolina 24. 7:30 p.m. on ABC. My pathetic Florida Gators against the number 4 ranked Miami Hurricanes. Miami's only favored by 3 for some reason. Somebody knows something. I don't see it. Miami 28, Florida 17. 7:30 p.m. on ESPNU. Georgia State travels to take on number 20 Vandy. Vandy's favored by 26.5. Vandy is undefeated. Vandy's got something cooking down there in Nashville. I'm going to go Vanderbilt 42, Georgia State 10. 7:45 p.m. on the SEC Network. Southeast Louisiana travels to Baton Rouge to take on number 3 LSU. There is no line on the game as of right now. LSU 45, Southeast Louisiana 7. 8 p.m. on ESPN Plus and the SEC Network Plus. Sam Houston travels to take on number 8 Texas. Texas favored by 41. God forbid if Texas struggles against Sam Houston. I'm going to go Texas 44, Sam Houston 3. 11 p.m. on Fox. Unranked, unbeaten Michigan State travels to take on number 25 USC. USC is favored by 17.5. Every time Michigan State goes out west, nothing seems to go good for them. Although I think this will be closer than what you might think. I'm going to go USC 34, Michigan State 24. Which comes to my game of the week. Illinois and Indiana. Number 9th ranked Illinois travels to number 19 Indiana. They're in Bloomington, Indiana. This is at 7:30 p.m. on NBC. Look, I thought Indiana last year was the feel-good story of the year. They're undefeated. This year, they're ranked 19th. I don't think really either team has really played anybody yet. I said that Georgia Tech and Illinois were going to be, excuse me first for a second, were my sleeper teams of the year. Indiana is favored by 3.5. I get it. They're at home. Over-under is 52. But I just think Illinois has something cooking. They have something brewing. I don't know what I'm getting with Indiana yet. A blowout over Indiana State doesn't impress me. This is going to be a nip and tuck bloodbath. It's going to be downright and dirty and ugly. But in the end, ladies and gentlemen, which brings me to my who gets the finger. That's right. I am picking Illinois to beat Indiana 31-27. But I've got to go to the music. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Illinois, the Illini, you get the finger this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Illinois wins the game of the week 27. That's right. Illinois gets the finger. Only one finger. Again, Illinois will beat Indiana on the road. 31-27. The other game of the week. This is the main game of the week. Utah will beat Texas Tech in a close one. Let this play out. That's right, Illini. We will get the big road victory in the Big Ten this week. 31-27 over the Hoosiers. So, with all that being said, thanks to everybody who tunes in live. Thanks to everybody who checks out the replay. All on the Cole County Entertainment Network, ladies and gentlemen. You got to go check those guys out to their shows. Patterson Avenue Fanatics, I believe, is on right now. Talking about the Eagles win over the Chiefs, I'm sure. I was going to go before I roll out of here. Right now, in the third quarter, it is still Buccaneers 14, Texans 10. With all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the idiotic doubleheader that the NFL tries to put on Monday nights now. No one's going to stay up on the East Coast to watch the second game, unless you're a Raiders Chargers fan and you don't work till like 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. So, with all that being said, enjoy the rest of your night. I'm out. I'll see everybody tomorrow.
Under the lights, the crowd ignites. Roar of the field, burning bright. Shadows clash in the fading night. Student body right, student body fight. Feel the surge, feel the light. Run the play under the boom spotlight. Cleats on the turf, hearts in